welcome back to Don't Open That Door. Come along with our triumvirate of terror as we descend into darkness, hurtle into horror, and plunge into peril. If you've ever encountered extra-dimensional horrors while clothes shopping, you're in the right place. I'm Justin, and I would survive in the woods.
I'm Nico, and I do need to go clothes shopping, so if anyone at MeUndies is listening, hit us up for that sponsorship, you hear?
Well, I'm Dan, and I always have to try before buy.
And we're here today to review an indie double horror doubleheader coming right at you, starting with The Changing Room and then following up with The Pine Creepers. So first, The Changing Room. This one was directed by Sam Evenson, starring Jamie Taylor Ballesta as Ava and Alan Maxon as the hanged man / evil thing in the mirror. So we open with a young woman named Ava who's purchasing some clothes from a shop. She wants to try on some clothes, but doesn't see a changing room. So she explores past the door with a big-ass sign warning her not to enter and finds a dressing room with an interesting feature. Sounds like something Nico would do.
Nope. Absolutely the fuck not.
So what happens next, Nico?
So, in a move that I famously would not do, she continues, and the dressing room contains two mirrors that face each other and seemingly contain infinite reflections. Eva notices something in the ceiling above her, but ignores it and begins to see what the clothes look like on her. And just then, she sees something horrifying.
Oh my God, it's Dan!
Incredible.
Well, that horrifying thing she sees is actually a hanged man who appears in the mirror and begins moving through the reflections as it gets closer and closer to Eva. She tries to hide and even uses her phone to try and see the monster via a reflection, but it is to no avail. The creature appears before her and kills Eva, leaving her body hanging in the infinite reflections of the room. The end.
Well, let's get down to business, shall we? First, how does this look? Nico.
I am a big fan of how this looks, with a lot of respect to the director for really just doing a lot. I have a feeling that you both watched the sort of like making of.
Yeah, we did.
I did, yeah.
Good. Okay, yeah, so then we can speak freely. I am just a huge fan of how detailed the shots were, in particular with our very limited set, and there's a lot of just clever framing and lighting that makes this look both real and also surreal, and I liked it a lot.
I agree completely. I think the mirror was always going to be the kind of star of this, the big set piece, so to speak. And I think it looks really cool. In particular, the end where it almost kind of looks like Ava's in the mirror. I like that a lot too. I know it sounds kind of dumb saying it because, yes, how are you not going to be in the mirror? But if you know, you know. Dan, what'd you take on it?
And I thought it was really cool. Ever since we watched Oculus back in those ancient days.
Movie's so fucking good.
Yeah. Anytime there's a mirror in a movie, I'm like, oh, how did they do that? So watching the behind the scenes was really cool. For the listener, they used two-way mirrors. So they fuck around with the lighting in the rooms because my memory might get this a little bit wrong, but if the room that you're in is brighter than the room you're looking into, then you can see the other room. Or if it's the other way, I can't remember. I might have mixed that up. But the point is, they used lighting and two-way mirrors to be able to hide the cameraman behind one of the mirrors, so that way you don't actually see them in the shot, which I thought was really cool. And a lot of the changing room that she's in is actually just a background that he made in Blender, which I thought was really cool. The actual set is fairly bare, but the changing room is all designed in Blender.
Which, can I just say, really fucking impressive. Like,
Yeah.
I follow a lot of artists on YouTube, and I have sort of like been like vicariously sort of like studying their workflows and just being interested in the actual process of it. And Blender is hard to fucking use, dude.
Yeah.
Like, mad fucking props, honestly.
Yeah, dude, my blender sucks ass.
Yeah, it's loud.
You should try that Ninja Blaster Blade Whirlpool 3000 or whatever the fuck it's called that I keep getting ads for.
I have that. I'm the reason why you keep getting those ads. And for the
Oh,
record,
okay.
it looks like it'll take off your whole fucking hand if you like put it in there. So don't do that.
Okay, unfriended.
I would also accept okay Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to accept, Nico, is your thoughts on how this sounds. So how does it sound?
This is one where there's not really too much to say, just because one, it is so short. It's right under 5 minutes, right?
It's like 420. Lazy.
Nice, eh? But it is quite short, and a lot of it is just like the Foley and there's no real soundtrack or anything. I only have one complaint. The one complaint is very, very specific too, because the ceiling that they have in the little dressing room there is the exact same ceiling that I have in my classroom at work. And I've seen those little like metal grates sort of like bend either from a kid being a dumbass and like jumping up and hitting or just other incidents happening, and it doesn't sound like you're opening some ancient dwarven smith in the mines. Like the fucking sound that came with, I kid you not, like maybe 4 to 5 inches of steel just like bending a little bit sounded absolutely colossal, and that just took me right the fuck out of it. The rest of it I really liked.
More on metallurgy from Nico later. But Dan, what do you think of the sounds?
I enjoyed the sound actually quite a bit. And Justin, I think that you would be pleased to know that a lot of the sound design that they created was used by using a mallet on a steel drum.
I'm sorry, what instrument is that? I'm not familiar with the
you're
steel
not familiar
drum.
with steel drum?
It's
No.
where you take someone else's drum that used to belong to them.
No, that's a teeth drum.
Of course, Dan is referencing the legendary steel pan of my home country. But yes,
What'd you think?
I quite enjoyed the sound actually for what there was. Nico's right, it is a bit of a shorter flick, more on that later. But I thought it fit its purpose well, especially in something like this. I kind of find that the sound is supposed to complement, and it complemented the visual well. So I liked it. Now, question for the room. Is this an effective horror? Because it's so short, does it do enough in the short amount of time to generate that suspense and that horror, do you think?
Yeah, I think that everything was very intentional and well designed, like from the top down, and that went into the creation of not only the shots, but also, the horrors themselves. I really like this concept of sort of like a mirror dimensional shambler hanged man that just kind of fucks you up. So I think it's rad.
Dan?
Yeah, I think it was quite effective. I thought it was really cool at how, in a lot of horror movies, especially like hauntings and things, you get sort of that arc of like, okay, things first start being a little benign almost, like you might see something off in the distance or whatever, and then throughout the film it builds and gets more and more sinister. That kind of happens in this film, but just on a much shorter scale, which I thought was really cool. Is even the first time you see the mirrors, one of the mirrors is sort of like warped a little bit, so that infinity reflection looks off. And that was really cool. And they did some like color grading to change the color of the reflections as it goes. So even like right off rip, we get like a uneasy feeling about the mirrors, and it kind of gets worse and worse as the horror short goes. So I thought that was a really cool arc and very effective at creating that arc in such a short amount of time.
I also think that it's an effective horror just because it takes what I think are some of the best elements, like Nico.
I am the best element of this podcast. That's correct.
Jokes.
Damn.
So yeah, Nico, you know how sometimes things start off like a little bit innocuous, like, oh, the door might creak or like a window might close or something, and then things kind of build from there. I thought this was kind of pretty much able to take all that and condense it down into just a couple of minutes.
Damn, wow, that was a very original thought you had there.
Yeah, salient and well said.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, there's only one other thing, and I was just kind of a shower thought, really.
I don't want to hear your shower thoughts.
Normally it's Ayo white as soap like this, and I don't want to get this in my eyes.
If only you had some hair to block that.
Listen. My specialty shampoo will penetrate the universe.
Hey, bruh.
Pause. No Diddy,
Whoa.
though.
What?
No,
No Diddy.
no.
No.
It's a tea tree eucalyptus shampoo, guys.
Damn.
Jesus.
Damn.
All right.
Damn. Critical fucking hit.
I have to leave some of those sounds in now because otherwise people are going to be like, why the fuck were you cracking up like that? Anyways. Dear listener, we uploaded some soundboard shit and I regret it now. But do you think the people who own the clothes store, do you think they know about the evil mirror so they put the sign up just to keep people out? I know probably no one's ever thought about this. Just a little fun thought experiment.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, I think they do know because, like, they put a sign up at least, you know, showing like, hey, this shit's not good. Don't do it. It's not a great plan there, Tex.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The one thing that bothers me, I guess the second thing that bothers me is the short is called The Changing Room, and the sign right above leading to that door says fitting room.
Mm.
You see the disconnect. And they made the sign themselves. Like, come on, y'all. Couldn't you just do the thing?
But I wonder if it has to do with the fact that she changes to go into the mirror. Like, it changes from the dude in the mirror to her in the mirror.
We need, like, a sound on here for whenever someone makes a critical hit.
I'm going to shop that and it'll be in my next podcast, bro.
Okay, good. Just well done, Dan.
So I want to take it to the what would you do? And pretty simple and straightforward. You ignored the warning like a fool. You went into the changing room and now you find the doors locked and there's the hangman in the mirror coming towards you. What would you do?
Box him the fuck up.
Smash the mirror.
Well, yeah, I would have been smashed that mirror, honestly.
Agreed. Smash the mirror. I knew this would be the shortest what would you do ever because what the fuck else could you do? And I would have totally smashed the mirror a la Conan the Barbarian, the second movie, where he fights the wizard. Again, if you know, you know.
Wow, that's a mad specific reference.
It truly is. Now I want to take it to the critic review, and we're going to use IMDb for this. We're going to move the decimal over by a point. So what do you guys think this has on IMDb?
I'm going to say 76.
I'm going to say a 61.
It's a 61.
For real?
Yeah.
No, it's a 6.1.
Which
Wow.
converts over to a 61. Yeah.
Wow. Fuck you, Nico.
Yeah, fuck you, Nico.
Fuck me, man.
Yeah, true enough. But I don't want to know what the critics think. I want to know what you think. What's your score for this?
My two very specific gripes aside, honestly loved this. I think it was incredibly well made and the effort shows. I'm going to give this a 90.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. I also think it was very creative. Like, watching the behind the scenes really made me appreciate it more, I think. So
Yeah,
thank you for posting that. That was really, really cool, and creating that video. That was awesome. But I'm going to give it a 85.
So I thought I enjoyed it until I heard your scores, and I realized I liked it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as you guys. This is going to get a 79 for me. Again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I just didn't think it was on that level like Nico did. But I thought it was good.
Fair play, fair play.
So, is this one going to get a recommend from us?
Definitely.
Agreed. Is this going to get the golden seal from us?
Personally, I would.
Not for me, no.
Not for me, but are we going to open it up here for Diamond in the Rough? And would you give that to this movie?
I would also give that to this movie, yeah. It seems to be something that there is, like, truly, you know, the metaphor diamond in the rough. Diamonds are made under pressure, and I can tell that there was a lot of effort that went into this, and I think it shows.
Are effort and pressure the same thing?
In the metaphor verse, in the metaphor cinematic universe, yes, they are. You bet your ass they are.
Okay. I don't know, man. I'm torn. I'm going to tap L1 and pass it off to Justin real quick.
Oh, okay. My man said deflect.
For me, I'm going to go ahead and save Dan, and I'm going to say no, not for me.
Fair enough.
Okay.
This is the closest I think something will come without getting it. IMO. So yeah, you heard it first, dear listener. This does get a recommend from us. While it doesn't get the golden seal or the diamond in the rough, we still think it's worth a watch. Now don't go anywhere, because we've got another review of another indie horror short coming up right after these messages.
Are you an emo simp looking for a dummy mommy? A soul alone in the darkness, looking for your queen of shadows? Well, look no further, because Biter is the dating service for you. Take a listen to a real consultation.
Hey there, Damien, underling of darkness. Thanks for meeting us here today.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for using Biter.
Greetings to you both from beyond the veil.
So you're here today looking for a vampire mommy, is that correct?
A Lady Dimitrescu of your own to warmly choke you out before bed, possibly with her own big claw hands?
Yeah, I was thinking of something like that. Someone to drink wine with and pretend that it's the blood of my enemies.
Well, it looks like we've got a potential match right here. We've got Cassandra, Maiden of the Night. Her bio says, "We're two strangers right now, but with time, you could be my familiar."
Whoa, she's hot. I mean, she makes my dead heart beat once again.
Well, that's great, but don't make that sound again.
No, it isn't. Maybe a second option?
Well, fear not. How about Astrid? Every night, she bathes in the blood of a shrine maiden. Sometimes two.
She says in her bio, "Down for blood play, WBU, question mark, and Gemini City Girl, big fan of Nosferatu."
Life is an abyss, and perhaps we could fill each other's.
Segoy. Well, that sounds amazing. And not at all too good to be true. Are you good to meet her later tonight?
Under the pale moonlight.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
And that's another happy meeting on Biter, where love bites back.
Wow, these vampires sure are thirsty. This is the third one this week.
Yeah, I guess we gotta keep this up, or Will. Being next.
And we're back. So, this time around, we're taking a look at The Pine Creepers. Now, this was written, directed, and narrated by Andy Coyle, and Ryan Carlson came in for the music. So we open with a man reminiscing on the summer of 1995 and the time that he spent with his two friends, Augie and Jordy. This story is told entirely through the narration of the man, and he begins with telling us it was hot. Their houses didn't have air conditioning either, so they spent a lot of time camping outside, which apparently is something that our guy Nico might have to do. Nico, what's happening next?
Yeah, my house has been like almost 90 degrees this entire day because my AC is fucked and life is hell for me. Much like how this is going to go for one of them, I have a feeling. So, the narrator and his friends used to hang out in a clearing in the pines right behind Jordy's house. There was an old Buick that they cleaned up and they'd stay up all night talking. One night, Jordy tells a story about a kid from their school who went missing. He said that his dad told him that it was the pine creepers, white creatures with extended limbs. And for context, I'm not talking like someone just put a picture of me and Dan into MS Paint and hit like stretch. I mean like some sort of skinwalker looking motherfuckers type deal. Anyway, according to his father, they've kidnapped people before. So these pine creepers, they mean business.
As do I. That night, after they've all gone to bed, it starts to rain. The narrator sleeps in a tent with Augie while Jordy sleeps alone in the back of the Buick. The narrator realizes that he's got to take a piss, so he grabs a lantern and steps outside of the tent. When he does, he sees a legion of eyes peering back at him from the edge of the lantern's light. He realizes that these must be the pine creepers. Now, even though I'm the survivalist, I'm going to pass it off to Dan. Dan, what happens next?
The narrator slowly backs away into his tent, stays as quiet as possible. Pine creepers surround his tent, and he worries about Jordy, all alone in the Buick. Things stay like this until morning, when the narrator and Augie leave the tent and find that Jordy has disappeared. The narrator ends his story by saying that the whole town looked for him, and he'll always remember that summer, because that's the summer that Geordie disappeared. The end.
Geordie must know Morty.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done.
So let's get down to it. Dan, how does this look, given that this is, in fact, an animated short?
Well, it looks animated because it's an animated short. It looks pretty cool. We have reviewed one of the studio?
Group.
Channel Studio, unsure how to say.
One of these people's
All of the above.
horror shorts, animated shorts before The Worm, which was really cool. And it has the same kind of artwork. And I really enjoyed the artwork. I thought it was really cool. Very Steven Universe-y. And Hilda, the director, did Hilda as well. So it's the same kind of art. It looks really good.
I agree. I think that it looks really good. I especially like the lighting. I read an article where Andy Coyle actually was talking about the lighting, and there were some cool things. He did a really good interview with Toon Boom, and that is where I got a lot of the details from. The only thing that I will say as far as a criticism goes on my end, there is not a whole ton of movement within the animation, with a couple small exceptions, but for the most part, everything is very still. The characters are very still for the most part. There's not a ton of movement within them, but that can be forgiven given how much of a one-man show this really was. Nico, how's it look to you?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. The only thing that I'll add is that I think it makes the moments where we do have more fluid animation that much more sort of like vivid and just, I don't know, not necessarily a highlight, but actually, yeah, a highlight. Like, one of my favorite moments from that wasn't even something that was horrific. It was just watching the fire sort of like beautifully go in and out of the waveform that it seems to be. It was just almost like kind of mesmerizing. I'm totally not pyromaniac, by the way.
Now, taking it to sound, I'm going to go ahead and say that I quite love the soundtrack. It's pretty lo-fi, and I don't know. I'm a sucker for this kind of soundtrack, so.
It's also super synthy, which is just chef's kiss.
Well, once again, I like that too. But Dan, thoughts?
Yeah, I love the soundtrack. Their narration sounded good. My nitpicky moment, there was one not so great audio edit, dialogue edit that I heard. I like went back and was like, oh, let me hear that again. And I'm an audio guy, so that I know I'm a little more particular than most, I think.
What was the part?
I don't remember at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, fair.
Mm-hmm.
But it was maybe like halfway through or so. But yeah, other than that, I think it sounded great.
Word. Nico, I take it you love the soundtrack too, though?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. It's super vibey. It's very lo-fi. There is a lot of sort of like driving synths to make the sort of atmosphere just come alive, and it really works for me.
Absolutely. Now, as just a quick question, this has a little bit of a comfy feel, a little bit of a nostalgic feel to start, but that evolves into horror. What elements or techniques did they use to make this horror, do you think?
So I kind of like the fact that people just disappear and there's no real explanation. I mean, they do talk about the pine creepers, obviously, and like we see the pine creepers near the end, but we don't know what the pine creepers do to them. And when Geordie disappears, he's just gone. Like, you don't hear screaming, you don't hear a scuffle or anything like that. He's just gone. And I think that's pretty cool. It leaves a lot up to the imagination. So I like that.
Agreed. Another thing that I read was the lighting, and I think that's super key. One thing that really sticks out in my mind is the scene where the narrator kind of goes out and he's holding up the lantern, and the lantern, it's as you would expect, it's a dark and rainy night. So we see the lantern illuminating the narrator's face, and then it kind of pushes out a little bit, and out right outside that line is all the eyes of the pine creepers. And that's one example of the lighting. And the second is when he's in the tent and the pine creepers are silhouetted by the lightning. And I think that's kind of, for me, a huge addition to the horror of it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
The one thing that worked for me was just the pacing of it, and I am a big fan of just how the narration sounded. It felt one or both of you described this, I think, as like nostalgic, and if you didn't, then I guess I am now. But like, it felt almost like something that you would tell around a campfire, and the delivery of it just sort of put me in the mood to be scared.
Agreed. And it's kind of funny because they were talking about the pine creepers around a campfire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Heard you like campfires.
CAMPFIRESONG song. Neither y'all watch SpongeBob, huh?
Nope. So I
Wow.
want to ask now, how do either of you feel, or maybe both, about the pine creepers themselves? These otherworldly, we don't belong here type creatures, skinwalkery almost. What do you think?
I think they're cool. My only complaint is that I just wish there was more of them. And that is somewhat sort of contradictory to the fact that I agree with Dan's earlier point where he said, like, we don't see a lot of that and it does leave a lot up to the imagination. It's purely just one of those things where I like this, so I just want more of it. But given that this is, again, a short, I think they made the correct decisions in terms of setting up the tension and making for a scary environment.
Dan, how about you?
I like them. I have a little conspiracy theory
Oh, yeah?
that the pine creepers, they mention a story of like some people in the 70s who like
Yes.
disappeared. My theory is that the pine creepers are those people.
Oh, shit.
They like disappeared and like became pine creepers or whatever,
Maybe they're creeping through some
Yeah.
pines.
creeping through the pines. You know.
That's interesting.
And of course, there's no way to confirm that or anything, but you know, that's just my theory.
See, first off, Dan, I have my own little theory.
Oh yeah,
I like the pine creepers as monsters, first and foremost, but I also think that when the pine creepers take someone, I think they turn them into a pine creeper.
I could see that, yeah.
So whether or not the 4 that were taken were like the OG pine creepers or not, I think they add them to their number because one very important detail is they never find bodies, you know?
right.
Like the cases are never closed. The people just disappear. And I think they just turn into pine creepers. I think that's what happens to them. And to be honest, I really like the narration in this one. So I think it adds to the story itself. I want to take it to the what would you do? And I don't know about you guys, but as soon as they were like, yeah, we had, 3 best friends that would hang out all night during the summer, I was like, well, don't point the picture at me. But it did remind us of our shenanigans we used to get up to back in high school.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
what would you do in this scenario? Let's say it's the 3 of us and
Probably beat you at Mario Party and Kart.
true, possibly. But let's say we can't hang out in Dan's basement that night and the 3 of us are just hanging out, maybe over in my direction, over in the woods by where my house is,
You remember you were?
Oh my God.
We're just chilling at the spot.
And we're hanging out in the woods by my house.
Orpheus did it before Kendrick.
Oh!
Just saying.
Deep lore, deep lore, deep lore.
Yes, Orpheus did. So it's late. We decide to just camp out a little bit. And first off, who's going to be the one, do you think, between the 3 of us to have to take a piss and wake up and find the pine creepers?
I feel like Justin, it's you.
I just want you to think about how fundamentally weird this question is, Justin. Like, okay, which of the 3 of us probably has to piss? Do you know yourself to know you're like, yes, my classic 9 o'clock urination, just on schedule according to Keikaku? Like, is that the kind of 5D piss chest that you're on right now, Justin?
I know it's that deep, bro. Who do you think would wake up in the middle of the night?
Probably me, honestly.
Yeah, I vote Nico. So, Nico, you're going to start. You wake up and you see the pine creepers. What do you do?
immediately wake the both of you up by yelling, "Hey guys, there's some pine creepers over here."
All right. Now, the three of us are there, pine creepers in front of us. What would you do? Let's say there's a mini gang of them. Do we hop in Dan's red van and drive away? What do we do?
I thought you said hop and dance. Like a fucking dance off.
Yep.
Oh,
Challenge them to a dance off. Like we're playing that one fucking video game.
DDR?
No, the Necro.
oh no, Crypt of the
Crypt of
Necro
the Necro
Dancer.
Dancer.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah! Yo, shout out to that game. Fucking rules.
That's
Okay.
my answer.
All right.
Next question, please.
I would say we would just beat a hasty escape and then no one ever believes us when we tell people about it.
Or at least attempt to. Because I feel like
Yeah.
they would easily catch up and just, like, devour us.
Who the fuck is us?
You think you can outrun a fucking, like, gazelle, bro? Those are, like, people gazelles. But with claws and shit.
Them elongated limbs are prime for breaking, bro.
All right, we'll fucking see.
This is my character trait. But now, I want to take it to the critic review. Oh no, there's not one.
Just kidding. It's on IMDb.
So I want to know, what score would you give this horror short?
I'm a big fan of this, just like how I was with the previous one that we reviewed from this studio. It really captures a very specific feeling, and I think it's done impeccably well, even though it's not like something on the levels of, I don't know, Turbo Scary Movie 5000X Redux featuring Knuckles and Dante from Devil May Cry. But like, I really fucking liked this. I am going to give this a 92.
I'm Dante. Who are you? I'm Knuckles. I like Knuckles.
Give me your emeralds.
Oh no, the enemy has buried everything we need in these convenient locations. How can I find them? Would you believe I got some Knuckles?
I got just the thing for it.
Sonic Adventure 2. Let's go. Anyways.
That gets a perfect 100, by the way. Golden seal of a game.
Fantastic.
I would give this one an 87. To me, this is a nigh perfect encapsulation in a narrative sense of a story that gets passed down through generations. You know, he's talking about the summer of 95. That could very, very, very easily be something that's getting told to like kids nowadays. You know, he's like, listen, it's been
1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's how I see it. And also, I don't necessarily think or have any inside information that Andy Coyle wants to or has any inkling of developing this further. But I'm saying something like this, a story like The Pine Creepers, this is something that could very easily be a full-length film. Just straight up, it could be. So that's what I think. Dan?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. I kind of disagree a little bit with the two of you. It's a very classic story, but I almost wish it was a little bit more original. It is sort of that campfire kind of story, which I understand, and I know that's exactly what it was going for. But I just kind of wish there was like a little bit more of a twist, or maybe not like a plot twist, but just like a different take on it. Like something is maybe a little bit different or whatever. But to me, the parts that really stood out were the animation and the narration part of it. But I don't know. I still enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 82.
Mm-hmm. So with that, is it going to get a recommend from us?
Definitely.
Yes, for me.
Yes. Golden Seal?
I once again would.
Not for me.
Not for me. Diamond in the Rough?
I also once again would.
I don't think so. Not for me.
Well, Dan saves me. Okay, good enough, Dan. Good enough.
Tit for tat.
Yes, exactly. So you heard it here, dear listener. Once again, it gets the recommend from us. It's good. Definitely go check it out, but not quite up to the Diamond in the Rough. Now, we want to hear from you. Did you like these? If not, see them. They're literally free. Go see them.
Yeah. 20 minutes of your time. Just go do it.
Yeah. And then let us know what you think. We're on X and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. That's Don't Open That Door. Plus, you can check everything we've done on our website. That's dotdhorror.com. And of course, a friendly word online, a review, goes a long way. But till next time, take care of one another. Maybe have like a cell phone or a walkie-talkie just in case you go camping in someone's backyard and get attacked by these creatures.
Consider something like Stitch Fix and just avoid this problem entirely for the first one.
Indeed.
Also, sponsorship, hit us up.
True enough. But as always, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.